Hello, and welcome to another great episode of the Newark Debater. I'm Malcolm Miner, your alumni host, and I want to let you know we at the Newark Debater team appreciate you for taking the time out to see what we have in store for you today. Now, if you want to watch our last episode or any other episodes we've recorded and released, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/The Newark Debater. Remember to share all our videos if you think you know anyone who could appreciate the information. Share the information. Hey, it's 2020. Now, today's episode is all about how you can effectively create, take control of, and use your narrative. In debate, a narrative is a story used to create a direct connection between the debater and the topic. In the last few years, the popularity of narratives have skyrocketed, and we've seen much more people become open to bringing their own realities into the debate place. As a young activist, it's important that with any issues that you're passionate about, you learn how to present your story as effective and eloquently as possible without providing too much information or too little, or losing your cool by being a bit too passionate. Well, we also want to talk about what happens when you choose a career outside of those people normally associate debate with. Are those same skills applicable? How so? Now, if you want to learn how to use your voice more by taking control of your narrative and personal skills, this is the episode for you. Today, you'll be hearing from Alexa White. Everybody, let's welcome Alexa to the room. Alexa,
How are
hey.
you?
I'm doing well.
Great.
How are you? Are you ready to get started? Awesome sauce. Great. So Alexa, let's start, of course, at the beginning like we always do at the Newark Debater.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about where you are originally from.
Yeah, I'm originally from West Orange, New Jersey. So yeah, I came from that system. And then for high school, I moved to Newark and began at Science Park High School.
Nice. Nice. And so how did you find debate, even though I know, I feel like every science debater has a different like story, but it's also kind of the same a little bit. I don't know. Tell me.
Yeah, so my parents were very, very hung up on me joining some sort of extracurricular activity. And so I didn't, I quit everyone. I was in basketball, I was in fencing, I was in volleyball, all of that. And one day, as I was getting in the car, my father was picking me up, he told me, he asked me how my day went. I said, oh, like there were debate tryouts today, but like I'm just gonna go home. And he told me to get out of the car and go to debate tryouts. And so I went, and everyone was speaking very quickly, and it was obvious that some people really, really were excited to be there. And I, to be honest, was not that excited to be there. As I told you before, I just didn't want to do an extracurricular activity. And so a year went by, and every tournament I was asking my father, like, can I quit now? Can I quit now? Can I quit now? And he was like, no, 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 no. And eventually it just became the thing that I would do, and I really liked it, and it just became my whole life.
Really? Mm-hmm. Really? So tell us, Alexa, was anybody a little mad that you made it even though you didn't want to be there?
No.
Okay, cool. Because, you know, some people are like, well, she don't even want to be here why is
So
she,
I would
that whole
never make
thing.
that. I would never make that apparent to like other people around me. But in terms of my family, I was definitely like,
Ah.
I don't want to do this. I'm lazy.
I got you. I got you. Well, that's a really interesting story. That's a really good story. So tell us, how would you say you were as a student before you joined
Yeah,
the
before
debate
I
team?
joined the debate team, I was definitely, I would say an average student. My parents always made me strive to be the best. So in terms of my grades, they were to other people fine, but they weren't fine to my parents. And so the skill sets that I learned throughout debate definitely helped me in terms of like writing and delivery and even just negotiating and trying to speak to teachers. I became much more natural through debate. And then
Mm,
I became more dedicated to school. I became an academic.
nice. So,
Hmm.
backtracking, science, Howard, and now you said the University of Michigan
Yes, in Ann Arbor. Hmm.
and Ann Arbor. Okay, great. So tell us, wait, let me backtrack a little bit. Howard, did you do
I
debate
tried
there?
to, but no, I couldn't find a team, and the styles of debate that they were doing weren't exactly what I wanted. So I just wasn't.
Got it. Got it. Yeah, because I know there was an influx in these recent, I want to say recent
Hmm.
4 years that all the HBCUs, like there's a whole HBCU like
Yeah.
speech and debate league now. And they're so spread out. And like all of these schools are now having LD and all this other stuff or Parley and all the speech events. So I just thought maybe, I don't know, because I know it's been a very interesting past 10 years when it comes to speech and debate
Hmm.
and HBCU. So I don't know if you fell somewhere between that
So
line
I
of maybe,
attempted to
maybe,
join the team at Howard, but the I wanted to create a policy team, but the coach at the time, she really wasn't open to expanding her horizons, so
mm,
it just didn't work out.
hey, missed opportunity.
Yes,
That's,
I was like, I got a degree and I'm gonna leave, so that's fine. But
I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. So what motivated you to continue your, or to continue to invest your time and energy to getting better at debate when you first started at science?
I don't like to lose. I don't like to look dumb. I don't like to fail. And I really think that maybe I should rephrase that. So it's that I don't like losing. No, it's really that I just don't like looking dumb. I'd like to not appear as though I'm unintelligent. And so figuring out like the most complicated kinds of arguments and always having to kind of keep up with the different developments of arguments that other opponents would have, that definitely kept me in the loop. And then even socially, I got a lot of friends from debate. All of my friends right now that are from high school I debated with at some point in time, um,
Mm,
and they definitely supported me throughout that time and today.
yeah, awesome. So, hmm, how can I ask this? So, when did you first understand the power of telling your story
Hmm.
when it came to
Hmm.
debate?
I So I guess you kind of naturally progress as a debater and become into who you'd like to be as a debater.
Hmm.
So there are debaters that can prefer like more policy style arguments that are really direct and have to do with like the reality of what's happening in the status quo. And then there are debaters that are much more critical of things. Um, I saw the nuance in critical debate at the time. From what I know, critical debate was kind of like in the middle of its development, and in terms of kind of like how expanded it is today.
Hmm.
But yeah, the first time that I really thought about and telling my narrative and kind of story throughout debate was after watching a YouTube video of the out rounds at the TOC, and it
Hmm.
was Jalan Alexander, and he was talking about the Vanguard. And I started to realize, oh, like I didn't know you could do this. Like I didn't know I could talk about myself and my positionality within the debate space in the debate. Because as you know,
Mm,
like the rules of debate are always debated. So it just blew my mind that like I can debate the rules. And so I'd say
mm,
at about my junior year of high school was when I kind of like grew into that and kind of just lean towards criticizing things all the time.
Nice. Okay. So when did you know, or how did you know when you were sharing too much? Has that even ever happened to you?
In debate or
Yes.
sharing too much? I never thought I shared too much.
Have you ever heard anybody share too much in their debate when they try to use a narrative?
I guess I would, if I would put myself in their shoes, and I wouldn't have wanted to say some things that they may have said, but it was never that I felt that it was inappropriate. It was more so that how far are you willing to go? Like, how comfortable are you in this space? And then at what cost is that? Because there's always a cost. Like, you're saying this narrative because you'd like to win the round. That's the bare bones of it. So I'd say the farthest that I ever went was just talking about how I felt as a Black woman in academia and the amount of rounds that I lost. But I don't feel like that was really unique to me. I kind of feel like that part of my argument was common. But I feel like the unique parts were kind of like how I used that to support some sort of philosophical theory.
Okay. So do you mind sharing with us maybe one of your, I guess, fondest debate memories from high school?
Yes. I was at the Harvard national tournament, and I'd made it to outrounds. And I was floored with myself. I was a senior. I was like, how have I gotten this far? Maybe I could even go to the TOC. I didn't believe that I was good enough, honestly, to go to the TOC. And in that out round, it filled with people. It was a full room. And that was the first time that it was a full room for me. And I just felt really heard. I felt really heard, and like I had some sort of power to change.
Nice, nice. I will agree. It's something about the mixture of it being your senior year, because you're going for it all.
It's like, I don't care anymore. I'm going to give you everything I have.
No, you are really giving every performance, you know, all you got. And to make it to an out round, I think is like, I know that feeling the first time it happens is great, especially at a tournament like that. I broke. What?
And then everyone's helping you, and they're all coming around, and it's just magnificent. It's wonderful, honestly.
It's a great feeling. You're like, oh my God. I didn't debate. I was a speech student, so I competed in speech. So when you would make it to finals at like Harvard and Princeton, like that was a big deal. It was huge. Or just out rounds in general. It's huge. So I know that feeling.
And then once you make it to out rounds and you keep going, then it's just like, oh my God, like, and when does it end? It ends eventually, but
it does. But you don't want it to end.
No.
You're like, next round, please, final.
Yeah.
Oh wow. So tell us, who are some of your favorite speakers, and how have they influenced you to tell your story?
Some of my favorite speakers. I can definitely say Michelle Obama is one of my favorite speakers. I read her book, The Becoming.
Oh, so did I.
And just the way that, I think what really convinced me of my love for her was definitely, I listened to the audiobook of Becoming. And every morning it was just like a song that I would play on the way to work, and it would motivate me and put life into perspective. And I think she's very good at being relatable to a wide audience.
Really?
Who else? Science communicators. So Bill Nye. So I'm a scientist right now. So that's what I've chosen to do with my life.
Nice.
Bill Nye, Neil deGrasse Tyson, they all inspire me because typically in the field of STEM and science, people are not taught how to deliver any sort of public speaking, or just even to write in a way that is accessible to all people. And to see other scientists engaging with the public in that way is very inspiring, and I think hopeful.
Nice, nice. What's something that you've learned or experienced trying to I guess, balance schoolwork and debate when you were in high school, just as a sense of advice, or piece of advice, excuse me, for those high school students who watch the show?
I made a schedule. I did not make schedules before I joined debate. I became much more meticulous with my time. I did not want to have my time wasted, and I prioritized exactly where in my day I was most productive and what tasks I could do in those days. So my schedule definitely became much more of kind of a centerpiece. Google Calendar was my friend. And yeah, I guess the biggest piece of this, the biggest part of the advice that I'm trying to give is that you need to realize kind of like when you are most productive, how the spaces that you need to be in to be most productive, because we all have different mental spaces. For example, I work best when I'm around other people that are working, because I am really motivated by other people that are making me feel guilty for not working. And so, yeah, you just have to kind of like get in touch with yourself to figure out how you can manage all of the different things that are going on in your life, and creating boundaries. Some things are maybe your third priority, and that can't necessarily be accomplished in the day that you have. So you have to address that accordingly.
Definitely. Boundaries are important. So let's shift gears a little bit. So you were talking about us. You told us you are a scientist.
Yes.
So shout out.
Yeah.
Hashtag Black scientist. That's what's up. Talk about it a little bit. So tell the people what you do for a living.
Yeah. So right now I'm a 4th year graduate student, PhD at the University of Michigan. I am getting my PhD in ecology and evolutionary biology. And right now I'm smack dab in the middle of my research to finish my dissertation. So my dissertation is about agriculture, specifically international climate policy that deals with agriculture. I wasn't always an agroecologist. I used to be much more into, this is kind of funny, lizards. And so I was very interested in herpetology, is what it's called. And I used to look at different farms and see if, kind of investigate biocontrol agents for different kinds of farms. So yeah, now I do a lot of work with the United Nations and small scale farmers, and trying to figure out how they can just survive throughout all of the perturbations of climate change.
Wow. Okay. So has any of those skills that you learned from debate, have they been anywhere near helpful in your field or in life?
Extremely. It's definitely with the skill set, right? So I kind of feel like the most obvious things that you would get from debate, I didn't become a lawyer, for example. I didn't utilize, but definitely the core skills transferred. And I feel like they do to a lot of different professions. I know exactly how to look for a paper. I know exactly what to look for in terms of a citation. I know who's most credible. I'm aware of the journals that they're coming from. When writing, I figure out my audience, and I craft the text in a way that is most appealing to whoever I'm speaking to. I can write quickly, things like that. Those kinds of skills you never will not use, at least not in academia and not in STEM. You have to use those every single day.
Yes. I think that's why there is a push for doing for schools really trying to make debate a part of the curriculum, because these are just tangible skills that you can really take with you no matter where you go.
And then in addition, it's like in the bigger picture, it's more so just asking questions and being critical and not accepting the world for what it is. That's kind of at the heart of what I do. I am paid to criticize everything. So that I definitely learned from debate is to crossfire all the way, cross-X people.
I mean, in 2020, you got to be critical of everything.
Yes.
So
Yes.
we need those skills. Everybody needs those skills.
Exactly.
Because I mean, not going to get into it, but you can tell it's lacking
in many places. Yes.
Yeah.
A lot of people they need to be in their life to save it.
Exactly. So, Alexa, tell us, are there any projects you're working on or are part of currently?
Yes, many. So my dissertation is the one project that I'm working on. And my second is a student organization that I've created. So it's called Climate Blue. So one of the most influential conferences for climate change globally is the Conference of Parties put on by the UNFCCC. And our organization sends the delegates that represent the University of Michigan to these conferences every year. So I've attended 3 of them. They're pretty difficult you have to get it's a lot to get in. There's an application process. You have to get a background check. You have to become a proper delegate. And they only give you a few slots. So the first time I went was for the Paris Climate Agreement. I don't know if you know. But
yes.
Yeah, we watched the Paris Climate Agreement get signed, and Obama was there, and it was very upbeat. The second one was Poland, and then the last was last year. It was supposed to be in Chile, but it was in Madrid. So my organization sends students, including myself, to these conferences to either put on events or investigate kind of like up-to-date knowledge on what's going on in the negotiations. This year, because the Conference of Parties was delayed because of COVID, we were forced to kind of reinvent ourselves. Okay. So this year we're creating a consortium of international schools to combat carbon neutrality. So just an educating platform for figuring out carbon neutrality.
Awesome. I'm going to slightly sidestep.
Okay, that's perfectly fine.
However, and kind of go back just a little bit, you, because it just kind of clicked in my head, you graduated in 2012.
Yeah.
So your freshman year is when the election. Mm-hmm. How was that?
It was so much fun. Oh my God. Well, because he won. Obama won.
Obama won, yes, I understand.
But it was an election party. We were all in this big auditorium watching the polls, and as soon as he was officially elected, it was like, oh my God, chaos, this wonderful chaos. We all were happy and cheering, and we marched down to the White House.
Really?
Yeah, and it was very unifying. It was a wonderful time.
Wow, I feel like there's like no experience like that.
Yeah.
You're at Howard, you're in DC, you know what I mean? Your president's still Black. Yes. I mean, so you have that's beautiful. That is really, really, really beautiful.